In the opening scene, we hear a bubbly Christmas melody, and the presence of the season can be felt everywhere as decorations flood the streets and houses all over town. Two little girls, Emily and Sam, play hide and seek with Sam running out of the house to hide in an area marked out of bounds. Emily goes out in search of her elder sister. Soon the little girls realize they are lost and have no idea how to get themselves out. Emily feels scared as the lights suddenly go off. Sam runs to meet her baby sister, assuring her that they'll find a way out unharmed. 20 years pass by, and Emily still keeps her mother's necklace, which Samantha gave to her 2 decades ago. She tries to sneak out of the house, but her dad notices her sneaky movement. She reveals she's out to meet with her new boyfriend. Her dad has been observing the amount of time she has been spending with this new guy, so he requests to meet the young man who's taking up most of his daughter's time. Emily tries to evade her father's questions. She promises to introduce her guy when the time is right, and she runs off immediately to stop further questioning from the old man. Emily's boyfriend, Tony, works at a rival winery managed by his stepbrother, Parker, who competes with the winery owned by Emily's father. He is having a little squabble with his stepbrother, who is criticizing his new designs. He is tired of Parker's complaints, so he just allows him to talk until he gets an opportunity to run off. He receives a text from Emily and hurries off to join her at the restaurant where she is already waiting for him. He arrives at the restaurant and apologizes to his love for keeping her waiting. A waiter serves them some wine and Tony starts going on about Parker. Emily wonders why Parker always feels the need to compete, and just then, Tony spots Parker walk into the restaurant in search of him. He pleads with Emily to get under the table one more time. Emily detests that she has to hide under the table again as it is embarrassing, but she has to do it for Tony's sake. As soon as Parker spots Tony, he walks over to the table and takes a seat. He picks up the wine glass in front of him, not minding if it is for someone else. Tony is surprised to hear Parker reveal that he tracked his phone down to the restaurant, and that's how he got there. Parker complains about the version of the wine that he got at the table. Even though his brewery made it, he feels it's old as there's a more recent one. He calls the waiter, demanding that they stop serving their 2021 wine, instead of the one made in 2022. Parker suddenly grabs Tony's glass to have a taste, and to his surprise, Tony is drinking a wine made by his rival. Unable to hide his disdain, Parker starts saying bad words about Hermanhoff's wine. Emily is beginning to find his words insulting, and she can no longer condone it. She comes out from under the table, engaging Parker in a heated session as Tony tries to stop her. Parker is somewhat taken aback that Tony is dating the princess of his rival company. He demands to see him outside, and he makes sure to discourage other customers from drinking Hermanhoff's wine as he walks out. Tony meets with Parker outside the restaurant, and his stepbrother does not fail to remind him about his contract. Now Tony is left with an option to choose between keeping his job at the winery or dumping his sweetheart. He tries to sort it out with Parker, but he isn't interested in Tony's feelings towards anyone associated with his competition. Emily walks over to Tony immediately after Parker leaves, and he explains why he has to endure all of Parker's drama, as they are family and he can't throw him away, seeing how much their winery means to him. She wouldn't want to get in the way of his dreams, as there is nothing she can do about the clause in Tony's contract, so she thinks that it might just be better if Tony could send his stepbrother on an extended trip somewhere very far, or something even better. Emily gets an idea and she jumps in excitement. Sam, who is now established in her career as an air hostess, just happens to arrive at St. Louis. As she alights the plane to take a walk around, she runs into some passengers arguing over the ownership of a particular bag. Sam helps them to resolve the issue, and almost immediately, Emily calls requesting for her to come home. Sam drives home to her father's residence. On seeing each other, the sisters embrace each other joyously, as it has been quite a while since they saw each other. Emily takes her sister inside and she reveals the primary issue in her relationship. She's ready to go public about her relationship, but Tony can't afford to, or else he will lose his shares in the company because she is his competitor's daughter. Emily requests for her sister's assistance to distract Parker by dating him. Sam realizes that the story doesn't concern her. Plus, Emily is currently ranting about the same guy whom she wants her to date as a distraction. He doesn't sound nice, so she doesn't see exactly how she can be of help to her. But Emily clarifies that if Sam dates Parker, he will be dating a competition as well, which will nullify the clause in their contract, and Tony wouldn't have to lose his shares. Emily is quite positive Parker will like her sister, because who wouldn't like a lady as successful and beautiful as Samantha? She's got her charms. Tony joins their conversation out of nowhere, causing Sam to jump in fright at his sudden appearance. Emily does the introductions, and the lovebirds soon start explaining the reasons why they need her to help save their relationship. Emily pleads with her sister and makes all sorts of faces just to get Sam's sympathy. It eventually pays off, as Sam agrees to do it for them if they agree to name one of their kids after her. Tony agrees and they make a deal. The next day, Sam begins to work on her agreement. She walks into Parker's wine store and requests a bottle of wine. She picks it up and heads straight to Parker, who seems to be uninterested in having any discussion with her. However, she proceeds to get his attention, and Parker turns off his computer upon realizing this lady in front of him has a tongue that is capable of distinguishing the difference in wines. They continue chatting until he notices one of his staff serving the wrong wine to a client. He jumps off to correct her mistake before the customers have a taste of the wine. Sam persists as she approaches him where he's working and requests for a tour of their cold press, which she reads out from one of the bottle's labels. Since they are getting to know each other, he obliges her request and asks her to follow him. Parker takes her around, showing her where he stores his wines in large tanks. She requests to see how their bottling process is being done. Parker thinks she's becoming too nosy, so he confirms she's not a spy, which she assures him she's not, since she's a flight attendant who is almost everywhere. He's convinced, so he shares a little secret with her on how they bottle their wine to cut costs. Sam thinks her father can adopt his system. Parker offers to give her some wine to taste, and he's impressed with her ability to discern tastes. He thinks she might just be a sommelier, a wine waitress, seeing how good she is with wines. He offers to give her more, but he gets distracted as his bell rings, indicating he is having a delivery. He briskly walks to the door to get his package from George, the owner of Hermanhof. Sam quickly hides on seeing her father. She eavesdrops on their conversation as Parker rubs off on the fact that his wines are making better head waves compared to George, from whom he gets his grapes. Sam realizes that her family's winery lost the C. McWilliams Award to Parker. George advises Parker not to think too much about the whole wine thing, as wine will always be wine. The old man takes his leave and Parker returns to meet Sam. He reveals George used to be the legendary winemaker of Hermanhof, whom he used to look up to. But now things have changed, as George cannot keep up with the times, changes in the tastes, and people. Parker hopes he wins this year's Red Blend holiday competition so they can finally become the most award-winning winery in town. Sam informs him that she needs to leave as it's getting pretty late. He calls her back to confess that he doesn't really make new friends, but he'd like them to talk some more about wine at a later date. She assures him not to worry, as she will find him when she's ready. On getting back home, she complains to Emily how pompous and conceited Parker is. The way he goes on talking about himself makes her feel nauseous, even though he looks great. She doesn't think she can soften this guy up the slightest bit because she thinks he's worse than her first-class passengers. Emily assures her sister that she's the best person who can get the job done. Their father walks into the house and is glad to see his daughter, Sam. Emily watches the awkward welcome embrace between her sister and father. George promises to talk to Sam tomorrow since he's busy with working on the forthcoming blender competition. He bids his daughters goodnight. Sam nods her head in disagreement with Emily, who is admonishing her to come home more often. As far as she is concerned, whenever she's around, there's always a fight between her and her father, so she thinks it will be best if she should lessen the amount of time she spends at home. The following morning, Sam is having breakfast at the dining table when George comes downstairs walking towards her. After he settles to have his coffee, Sam requests to know why she isn't informed about the reserve cellars, which she discovered from her visit to Parker the previous day. Her father reminds her that they can't stay champs forever, and even if the reserve cellars and Parker are kicking their butt, there's not much he can do, as he hasn't really been the winemaker. Her mother had been the one making wines, and her specialty is the Christmas blend. Sam offers to help them make a blend for the competition, which can help them get back to the top. She reminds him that even her mother knew the importance of changing the blend every year. George's eyes become wider as he sternly tells her they won't be changing his wife's blend, no matter what the reason may be. She sighs, seeing that her father is truly refusing to accept change, while holding on to what he has left of his late wife, including her wine blend, which isn't bringing much sales or recognition anymore. After leaving the dining area, George takes Sam to show her where they store their wines. Sam recalls memories from when she was young, while she and Emily would run all around this area, playing hide and seek while her mother would be working on her blends. George shows her his stuff for the Christmas blend. He invites her to come with him to the Chamber of Commerce meeting since Emily will be there. Sam turns down the invite because she feels it's no longer her world. After George leaves for his meeting, Sam stays back wishing her mother is still around when Tony suddenly appears out of the blue. She is surprised that he has a key to their winery thanks to Emily, and he will be attending the Chamber of Commerce meeting as well. He quickly hands her a spy book containing everything she needs to know about his brother. He didn't realize he could have emailed her to make the delivery easier. However, he needs to run off for his meeting right away. Everyone arrives at the final planning meeting for the Kris Kringle Market and the Christmas blender. While being addressed, Emily and Tony Steele looks at each other smiling from where they are seated with George and Parker. Parker Williams raises his hand to inquire about this year's prize for the Christmas blender, and to everyone's astonishment, the winner will be going home with 1 acre of Norton grapes, including the planting of the vines in the spring. The prize is a very huge one and everyone gushes in amazement. Emily texts her sister about the prize for the blender. After the gathering, Tony almost gets caught by Parker when he squeezes a romantic note into Emily's hands. Parker calls him to confirm he isn't speaking to the Herman girl, which Tony completely denies. Upon arriving home, Emily is on cloud nine as she reads Tony's note. Sam sarcastically mentions that it's good she feels that way while she's up studying the other guy who is oddly specific. She rolls out the findings about Parker she has made and she's not really impressed that he doesn't like dogs. Sam thinks Parker might be handsome, but he is a total jerk. She assures Emily not to bother her pretty head, as she's going to dazzle him. The next day, Parker walks into a store to pick up a delivery. Sam joins him as she has promised to find him again. She invites him to dinner at his favorite spot by 7 p.m. The lady brings his burger delivery, and the duo soon walks out of the restaurant while he opens the door for her. He turns back to take a look at her as they part ways, heading in two different directions. Later that evening, Emily picks up her keys and calls out to Sam to inform her that she will be out with Tony on a date at the 1873 cellar. Unknown to her, Sam had left a note about her date with Parker. She didn't see it, so she just walked out, believing Sam must have heard her. Sam is on her date with Parker and the duo gets talking about Parker's career and the exact thing that inspired him to come to Herman. She is surprised to hear him confess so much love for his stepbrother and even admit that Tony is everything he's not. She smiles and continues with the flow of the conversation as she chips in a little about her sister. They make a toast to their siblings, and just as Sam takes a sip from her glass, she spots Emily walking in with Tony. She chokes at the possible disaster that might happen if they don't leave. Parker gets up to ensure she is fine, but Sam quickly stands up, telling him not to worry and she will go talk to the management of the place by herself. She stylishly walks over to where her sister and Tony are sitting, to inform them that Parker is around. The lovebirds begin to panic, but Sam nudges them to stay calm and make their way out while she runs the interference. Sam returns to her seat with a glass of cherry. She offers it to Parker, saying that it came from the management in their attempt to make up for the cork in her wine which almost choked her. Parker takes a sip, enjoying the taste of the fine wine. One of his favorite songs starts playing, and as he attempts to go check out the jukebox not too far off, Sam intercepts him. She drags him to the dance floor requesting a dance, claiming the song is her favorite and she wants to dance to it. Tony and Emily take the opportunity and run out. They stop for a second to watch as their siblings dance awkwardly before running off. Parker seems to be enjoying Sam's company as they laugh and chat on their walk out of the restaurant. He requests for her to be his +1 to the Christmas party that the director of the Chamber of Commerce will be hosting, with all the top winemakers in attendance. After much insistence, she promises to meet him there as she can't let him pick her up or drop her off. On getting home, Sam questions Emily on how she could be careless by going on a date at Parker's favorite restaurant, almost getting them caught. The following day at Parker's winery, Tony notices his brother's unusual happy mood. He probes him to share the secret of his newfound happiness, but Parker insists he doesn't gossip. So, if he's interested in finding out who's responsible, he should come to the Christmas party happening over the weekend. Tony throws a punch in the air out of excitement because it seems their plan is beginning to fall into place. At the Hermans, Emily and Sam seek their father's attention as they need to discuss something important. The topic his girls are interested in is one he doesn't want to discuss, but he obliges them. Emily expresses her surprise at finding out that their winery is not doing well despite that she's been around. They request for their father to become innovative instead of imitating their mother's blends, or better still, sell a part of the winery and some equipment if it will help alleviate their cost and bring in some yields. Emily reveals to her father that Sam is onto something, and she's right this time. If he gives them a try, she will make some contributions and get their winery running once again. However, George is bent on doing things his way. He informs the girls that he won't be taking any of their suggestions, as he's not willing to change their aged practice of winemaking. Later that night, Emily urges Sam to follow her to the Christmas tree lighting party, as Parker will also be there. She has received the information from Tony and she's certain Parker will show up. Sam agrees and the ladies hurry out. At the Christmas tree lighting party, Sam sees Parker carrying a little girl up, who is not tall enough to see the trees by herself. She smiles and turns her face before he can find her staring. Parker smiles on spotting her among the crowds. He approaches her and they exchange pleasantries. He requests to interest her in some mulled wine. Meanwhile, Tony is really excited that his plans are going well. He hurries to go meet his sweetheart to inform her that their plan is working. After the event, Parker walks Sam down the streets. He seeks to know more about this lady who is fast becoming a person of interest to him. She smartly shares a little about herself and her family, careful enough not to reveal too much. Then she diverts the discussion back to him. At one point, Sam unlocks her arm from his. She bids him goodnight, indicating she can go further on her own. He pleads to at least walk her to her hotel, car, or wherever, but she refuses. The next day is the Chamber of Commerce's event. Tony and Emily stand with their backs facing each other so no one will notice they are actually talking to each other. Her father soon comes to talk with his daughter, unknown to him that he will be interrupting their discussion. Parker also comes to join his brother, and Tony is stunned to see him in fancy clothes. He helps Parker remove the tag on the cloth. Parker takes note of George, who is chatting with his daughter, and he takes the opportunity to find out how his Christmas blend is going. They engage in a discussion that feels somewhat competitive. Soon, Parker excuses himself to go find his date. George wonders who could possibly go on a date with such a narcissist. However, Emily interrupts him, asking that he should promise not to get mad at what she's about to reveal to him. Parker is anxiously expecting Sam to show up, but he's not seeing her yet, and it's beginning to get him nervous. Tony sees her walk through the door, so he quickly points Parker in her direction. Sam approaches him with a beautiful smile on her face, which causes him to be captivated by her ravishing beauty. He takes her with him to where the wine is being served. After taking a sip from the wine he ordered, the duo begins to tell apart the taste of the different elements used in making the wine. He compliments her ability to tell these things apart and suggests she come work for him, but Sam refuses the offer, while subtly reminding him that her passengers need her. The look on Parker's face is priceless, as he tries to convince her to get her to feel something for him. She quickly excuses herself to go wash her hands, but she ends up outside cautioning herself from developing feelings for Parker. Emily comes out to join her sister, and Sam confesses how she feels about Parker. Emily is super excited at the mention of the blossoming love possibilities between them. She encourages Sam not to worry much about it, as she has already informed their father about Tony and Parker. Although he's grumpy, he isn't angry according to her observation. Sam shakes her head as she doesn't know what to do with her baby sister. On getting back inside, Sam attempts to tell Parker the truth about herself since he's still insisting she stay back in Herman. But she gets interrupted by a lady who recognizes her as George's daughter. The lady reveals too much, and Sam stands still, saying nothing, nor stopping her from saying more, while Parker smiles in surprise as he gives Sam the look of a betrayer who has just been identified. After the lady walks off, he blames himself for not realizing that she must have been a member of the Hermanhoff family with her distinct ability to taste the essentials of every wine. He suddenly realizes that his brother might have put her up to it. Just then, Tony walks up to them and confesses everything. He just wanted to be happy with Emily, and he had no other option with Parker there. The disappointed Parker reminds him of the agreement they made to forfeit their shares if either of them does anything to jeopardize their winery. And now Tony intends to destroy what they've built by getting the competition involved in a love relationship. Sam tries to intervene, but Parker warns her to back off. He also calls off whatever is going on between them before angrily walking away. Tony apologizes to Sam for everything, while Emily and her dad watch the turn of events from a distance. Getting back to the house, Sam and George try all they can, but Emily refuses to come out of her room or open the door. George blames it all on Sam for refusing to come home regularly. However, this only makes Sam get pissed, and the duo get into a heart-to-heart discussion about why she refuses to come around more often. Sam blames it all on him for using their mother as an excuse to be unnecessarily stubborn and refusing to adapt to the changing times. The following morning, Parker and Tony also engage in a heated session. Parker feels deceived into falling in love with Sam, so he clearly states to Tony that he has to let go of Emily if he still wants to be a part of their winery or take part in the competition. At the Hermanhoffs, Emily comes to inform her father that Sam is gone, and she's not answering her phone calls. To her astonishment, her dad knows about it, and he's nonchalant about his daughter leaving. He's willing to let go of his daughter to keep his late wife's blend. Emily advises her father not to lose his daughter because of his stubbornness, and he should take her advice to change the blends because she's good at it. She further reveals that 7 years back, she and her sister had some secret operation, and they created the wine, which she secretly put into the cellar some days back. George is surprised to hear such a revelation and wants her to show him. George is shocked to see the barrels of wine deep inside the cellar. They have a taste of the 7-year-old wine, and he can't help but accept that he has been wrong all along. He decides to heed Emily's advice to go after Sam and make peace with her. Fortunately, they meet Sam at the airport just before she gets on board. George apologizes for his behavior and not seeing that his daughters are the future of their winery, while he has been holding on to his wife's blend. Emily reveals that she stored the wine her sister made 7 years ago in an oak barrel inside the cellar. George believes the wine is their key to winning the contest, and he's going to allow Sam to explore her talent. Sam is excited her father has finally come to his senses, and she's very much willing to make more wine. A few days before the blend contest, Parker and Tony are still not relating as they used to, but they join hands to select the wine, as well as bottle the selected wine ahead of the event. While in the Hermanhoff's home, George and his daughter also prepare as they roll out the barrel and affix their labels on the wine bottles in which the wine will be poured. The big day finally comes, and all the wines are subjected to votes of everyone who tastes it. Parker walks over to where Sam is having a taste of his wine. They get into a discussion as Parker tries to make her feel guilty for lying to him. Sam confesses how she came to fall in love with the real him, which is beneath this abrasive personality he shows off. Also, his love for his stepbrother is one thing she loves more. Tony comes to inform Parker that the tally is over and the winner will soon be announced. Sam nudges him to have a taste of her 7-year-old wine before she walks away. Parker is thrown off balance at the duration for which she had the wine prepared. He requests a Hermanhof and it does taste surprisingly good. The votes are over and the director announces Hermanhof and Reserve Cellars as the finalists. She calls them upstage and requests for the panel of judges to have a taste and then decide the winner for the contest. The judges pass a pretty good score for the Reserve Cellars, and everyone applauds Parker for his effort. They take their time discussing Hermanhof's wine and Sam decides to make an offer to forfeit the competition if Parker will let their siblings be together. Celebrations fill the air as the judges give Hermanhof the highest score, and the director calls on the winner to come up on stage. Parker urges her to go upstage instead of forfeiting the award, because she deserves it. Sam gives her acceptance speech, and Parker says a word about granting the people the opportunity to find love and be happy. He gets off stage and Tony runs towards Emily, seeing that his stepbrother has finally approved of their relationship. Emily gives back their mother's necklace to Sam, advising her to go get Parker immediately. Sam meets with Parker outside under the Christmas gazebo. They reconcile their differences and talk about the possibilities of their relationship being a reality. Parker notices the mistletoe right above their heads. The both of them tilt over for a kiss as they wish each other a Merry Christmas.